this. Look at the battling, and it is a safety car. Here comes Mika into slow corner. Whoa! Almost! And away we go here in the Netherlands for F1 down towards the next couple. Oh, it is! Oh my god! Whoa! Bit of a season as Nano wins! In Monza, FRLT Tier 1 of 4. And right beneath! Oh, he goes! Hello, and welcome back to FRLT. And tonight's an exciting one. It is round number 1 of a brand new championship. It is called none other than No Assists. It's a new category for this season. And so I'm quite excited to see how this is going to go. And what's going to happen. We've kind of got 16 drivers and we're meant to be having 18, but we're missing 2. I think we're missing a Mercedes. Missing a Mercedes, and it's a UFRT driver that we're missing. And we're missing currently one other driver from one other team, and that's a McLaren, which is XR8. Okay, so we're currently just missing a few drivers, but let's go through the order. It is the track map, and it is 5.793 kilometers, 3.599 miles, 11 turns, 2 DRS zones down the pit straight and down that back straight. Very, very long. Kind of 2 back straights almost, to some degree. Here is the calendar as well for No Assists this season. As you can see, it is Monza today. Next week, we'll be going to Belgium. Then, yes, we'll be going to the track of none other than Australia for round 3. An exciting high-speed first 3 races. Then we'll be going to Singapore for round 4. Then Las Vegas for round 5. And then Mexico for round 6. Before we go for our first mystery race of the season. Then we'll be going to the Great Britain home for most drivers. And it's Bahrain then for round 9. Japan round 10. Kota round 11. Netherlands round 12. And the mystery race to finish off the season. We're currently waiting on just one driver. We'll get underway very, very shortly. I know who we're missing. I do know who we're missing at the moment. I specifically know who we're missing. So I will get to him quickly and send him another invite. And tonight we'll get underway very, very shortly. We'll be readying up in about a minute or so. So just over a minute's time, we're going to be readying up. We've got 17 drivers. TDR are missing tonight, which is a bit sad. But I can show you guys the standings from assists. Which the button decides not to work. These are the standings from our race on Wednesday for assists. Might not mean much to you unless you watch assists or you support a team in it. SET took the victory. And if you're wondering what the numbers are on the right-hand side, that is team ratings, by the way. Yes. For the first time, we have team ratings from each week. And SET got a solid 9 out of 10. They were the highest performing team, along with the EVR. SET lead the championship, followed by LR in second. Joint, really second, is also EVR, but because of position, they dropped to third. SKG, tough day for them, only fourth. Only a fourth place and 11 points. UFRT as well, fifth, and in the constructors and fifth in the race. AZR finished with 7 points, PR with 5, VMV with 3, which is incorrect. They should have 2, and XR8 have 2. I do apologize, and AB have 1. I'm not sure why they have those points. I have to double check that with my graphics guy, why he's gone and done that. But yeah, so essentially it was meant to be VMV2, XR81, and AB0. Just to point that out. So it was slightly incorrect. And it's go. And we're going to be loading in for the short qualifying. We have we've got 17 in. Somebody's missing, clearly. Somebody's gone missing. It's still the XR8 driver who's still missing. That was wrong. It's not the UFRT driver, it's the XR8 driver. So we're going to be waiting for him to join very, very shortly. And we are going into qualifying for the first time for no assists at Monza. Let's see how it's going to go for the first race of the season. We had it for assists. We had Monza, and it was very exciting. Battle for the podium all the way up to the end. Let's see whether we're going to see that here tonight as well in no assists. Or is it going to be slightly more calm for this race? We'll have to see. But looking on track, when OBS decides to load, finally, if it decides to load, there it is. It is cloudy, so not the best conditions, not what the drivers would have been hoping for. Not perfect conditions here for Monza. Bit cloudy, maybe the race, we might see rain. To some degree, I do hope we see rain in Monza. It will really shake things up. XR8, of course, are missing one driver for the moment. So we're just currently waiting for the grid to get going and to choose their tyres. And we are now in, and we are starting the first qualifying session of no assists. And here are actually, I'll tell you the team cars while we wait. It is the lovely team of XR8 in the McLaren, XPG in the Ferraris, VMV in the Red Bull, UFRT in the Mercedes, OMB in the Aston Martins, EVR in the Alpines, TDR in the Haas, who aren't here, SKG in the RBs, SET in the Williams, and Rosso in the Saubers. That is how it is for today. Interesting to see. First car out on track is a UFRT driver. It is none other than Kimi Räikkönen. Oh my god. But Kimi is out on track for the first time. We've got now 3 Kimis. Kimi Räikkönen, Kimi Antonelli, and Kimi here in FRLT. But Kimi making his way around. First driver out on track. He's followed by Schumacher and Bovril for SET and EVR. Still learning the team cars because they have different cars compared to assists. They have different cars. So trying to figure that out still. Gonna have to remember week in, week out who's in what. But yeah. And there we go. There's the 18th driver. He's joined. Yeah. So the 18th driver has now joined. Who's in a Haas. I'm not sure why he's gone in a Haas. He might be TDR. but he's not allowed to race. I don't know why he's gone in a Haas. He might be. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is that's joined. Quite strange. Okay. Quite strange. But it is Kimi on his way to cross the line and to start off his lap here as he heads down towards the first corner. Braking hard for turn 1 into the first chicane. A little bit of lock up there on the left-hand side, but makes it through pretty well. As you can see, the Mercedes making his way round. But yeah, so now heading to the second chicane. My apologies for having to pause there. My PC decided to do a strange thing of just closing that. And into the second Lesmo. Very strong. My apologies once again. My apologies. And it's doing it again. Into the fastest section on the track. The left, right, left. Very strong through there from Kimi. Very, very strong from Kimi there. Now into the middle sector. And across the line is 1 minute 18.699 for the first lap time of the evening. That is what is set. That's beaten by Bovril immediately to a 1 minute 18.240. Schumacher can't beat that. He goes 400, exactly 400 slower. So a little bit off there from himself. Not too far off, just a little. I think we've got somebody coming around. That is a Rosso driver. That is Patro. We'll see him coming round. I've got to invite a driver like usual. I say to teams, please don't leave it till the last minute. Please try to join early. They never listen, and that's kind of really annoying. Super annoying, actually. It gets really on my nerves. But sadly, we can't invite them. Petra can only go into P4. Hacko can only go P6. Slowest of them all, but he's going on another run. And there goes Casper. Fastest of them all. 1 minute 18.142 is what is set. So I'm having to respond to a driver who has not been able to join. But Casper goes there. I think we just saw Willian go into P4. Solid from Rosso. Not too bad. Not too far off the pace. Speedy as well went P5. SET looking pretty decent straight away. They're not looking too bad. Looking at the rest of the grid, we've got quite a lot of drivers still in the pit lane for the moment. We've still got quite a few in there. Salva just went into Salvo Amido, I believe it is. Just went into P5. Solid lap time there from himself. As we just saw Iez go into P9. Not great. He's quite far off the pace. About 0.3 off of the pace at the moment. So not a good lap from himself. Not what you'd expect to see. And another lap coming from Indian here. Toro is starting his lap. I think this is Hacko making his way around. He's up by 6 seconds, so he's going to be going to an 18. He's looking pretty quick. And across the line, he does only a 1 minute 19, and he is slowest of all. SKG, fastest and slowest of all here tonight. Not where you want to be. Definitely not where you want to be in the grid order. We've got Pascal making his way round. He's got a decent amount of pace behind him. His teammate went P5. Can he do the same? Can he do close, or can he do better? Where's he going to go? He goes only P8 behind his teammate, and but only 0.2 behind, so he's not far off of his teammate for the moment. So it's looking pretty toasty between those two. Now Indian making his way down towards the final corner now. The Red Bull looking quick for VMV. Currently his teammate not looking too good, only P10 and about 8.5 off of the pace of the leaders. So he's a bit behind, but let's see, where is his teammate going to go? His teammate goes to an 18.8, only jumps into P10. Not the strongest of laps from VMV. Puts him a bit far behind. We've got Toro coming around next. Let's see how Toro can do on his lap. And across the line, Toro! Fastest of all for XR8. 1 minute 18.057. And that is fastest of all. P1. And what a solid lap there from the team of XR8. Very solid lap. Puts themselves just under a 10th in front of Casper. Currently 5 different teams. 6 different teams inside of the top 6 at the moment. It's looking quite toasty out there, I must say. It's looking very, very toasty out there. We've got somebody on a lap, but not sure who this is. And he's just gone straight. Bourbon Boy has retired. He has a qualifying ban anyway. We've got a random driver making his way around. I'm not sure who's invited him. I'm going to have to ask TDR about this. Because this guy's not meant to be in. At the moment, because we've got somebody driving. I'm not sure who he is. Bit of a confusing evening at the moment. I'm not sure who this is at all, I must say. Very confused of who it might be. Yeah, I'll look into that, because that's quite odd. I'm not sure who's joined. But Schumacher up to the line. Let's see what he's going to do. He's going to go fastest of all. Finds 3.5 tenths and into a 1 minute 17.933. Over a tenth ahead of Toro. And into provisional pole. EVR pushing for positions here tonight. Really, they really are pushing for positions here tonight. And up into P1. And it's a pretty good lap for himself. Deck is invalidated, sadly. I think we've got Jacob up to the line next. Where's Jacob going to go? He goes into P4. EVR pushing with their no assist drives. Really pushing. Assists. They're third in the constructors. They're hoping to maybe take the lead out of round 1 in no assists. So it's looking, spicing up quite a bit here. We got a slow driver with Deck making his way around. Edwards finally joined. Another XR8 driver has joined. Now we got Bovril making his way round. He's gone slow on that lap, so that was a slow lap from himself. We've got Fabric making his way around. I'm not sure who this guy is. Particularly, he's far off the pace, so I think somebody's accidentally invited him. So we're going to be having a restart because of this, because he's just flying through. Some people. Actual pain. It's an actual pain sometimes. That's Jacob making his way around. He's coming back into the pits. Iez not going quick at the moment. I think we've got Speedy on his way around. He's up by a quarter of a second, so he's finding quite a bit of time. He wants to go into P6. He wants to push with his teammates. Try to get those positions. VMV not looking strong in no assists. They looked a bit better in assists. They qualified quite well. They're not looking like they're going to qualify too well here. And now Speedy across the line. He goes into P6. He does find 3 tenths at the line in the end. And not a bad lap from himself. That is Pascal making his way round. Then we've got a McLaren making his way round. That is Toro on his out lap. I think we've got Salva Omido making his way round into the final corner. What can the OMB driver do? How can he perform? And across the line, he goes fastest of all. OMB, competitive. Straight out of qualifying. Competitive as anything. 1 minute 17.774. is the new provisional pole, and that is one hell of a lap time from himself. Hako can't improve. That's disappointment for himself. Got a very slow car going round. I think... Interesting. Strange. I'll just say strange. I think we saw Willian go P3 as well into the 1 minute 17s. Everybody's getting quite racy now. Into the lap times. They're getting very, very racy now. Into the lap times, I must say. Deck is on a slow lap. He's on his out lap. I think we've got Toro making his way around. He's invalidated, though. That is Salvo Mido making his way around slowly. That's Edward coming up to the line next. He's picking up a toe. I've told teams about this. Into the final corner he goes, throwing the car through. You can just see the speed that McLaren carries. Up to the line. Let's see what is he going to do when he crosses the line. It's going to be P9. He's a bit off, though. Not too far, 2/10, and he could have been P6. So there is something in it. There is definitely something in it. Of course, XPG have their double DNF at the double thing there, and that is retirement from Fabric. Not sure whether he's realised he's joined the wrong lobby potentially, or what. Don't know. Deck making his way around. We know that XPG have a double qualifying ban for this evening. And Deck invalidates again. I think that's the second time he's now invalidated. He just needs to sort out these invalidations. They're really hurting him now. His teammate is also coming into the pits. He is up by 29 thousandths in the first sector. That's not exactly what VMV would be looking for. They'd be looking for something more like a 3/10 gain. We saw Indian go up to an 18.3 into P10. His teammate 7/10 behind. Currently the gap just about 1.3 seconds from first to 15th at the moment, which is last. The last driver to set a lap time, 1.3 seconds at the moment, which is a very big gap, I must say, from front to back of the grid. So definitely quite a big pace difference. But let's see how Iez is going to do through this final sector. He's got to find another maybe 3/10 at least to bring himself into being a bit competitive, as I believe this will be his final run as well. Let's see how much he improves up to the line. He's the only car out on track at the moment. And across the line, he goes up by half a second to an 18.4, just behind his teammate. So that's a pretty strong improvement, over 5.5 tenths faster. That's exactly what a team looks for. That's exactly what you need. Bringing yourself back into being a bit competitive for the points. Kind of definitely what you want to be. Definitely what you want. So, interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, so very interesting so far. Very interesting session. We got Speedy out on track. He's the first to go. Can you get a team run through? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I'll give you the team run through now. XR8 are in the McLaren, XPG in the Ferrari, VMV in the Red Bull, UFRT in the Mercedes, OMB in the Aston Martin, EVR in the Alpine, TDR in the Haas, SKG in the RB, SET in the Williams, and Rosso in the Sauber. XPG have a qualifying ban for both their drivers. TDR aren't here tonight, but somebody's taken up a spot. Not sure why. Still very unsure why somebody's taken up a spot, but they have. And that's Flame who retires. XPG will be starting 17th and 18th because we will be having a lobby restart because of that Haas that's just sitting there in 16th. We can't be having a random driver out on track. So yeah, so sadly we are going to be having a lobby restart right after this, but Speedy making his way around to start off his final run. 1 minute and 12 seconds left on the clock. Still drivers coming out of the first chicane. Ooh, a bit of a lock up there for Speedy. We could hear it through the tyres. There are EVR. There is the EVR. EVR are in the Alpines. EVR are in Alpine. Late lineup. They didn't submit their lineup. They were late, which earned you a double qualifying ban. But Speedy is up by 21 thousandths in his first sector, which will just put him ahead of his teammate into P7. So at the moment, it's not a lot of gain. It's not a lot of gain for the moment. Remember, point system is different here for this season. It is 18 points for the win, 16 points for second, 13 for third, 11 for fourth, 10 for fifth, 7 for sixth, 5 for seventh, 3 for eighth, 2 for ninth, and 1 for 10th. And a point for fastest lap if you're inside of the top 10, and a point for pole. So there is a point up for grabs, and OMB are wanting to claim that first point of the season, and they want to be showing that they are here to compete. Speedy coming around the final corner, up towards the line. What can Speedy do? How much can he improve by? Where's he going to go? Speedy goes P6. He jumps Jacob in the end, and a good lap from himself there. Jacob's just invalidated. It's a disappointment there. It's Schumacher up to line next. He's also invalidated. And he was improving. He would have taken provisional pole. So that is that for him. All finished and done. We got Willian up to the line next. He's invalidated as well. For second and third, both invalidating their laps. Got Patro coming around now. Let's see how he's going to do for Rosso. He's P12 at the moment. If he can find 2/10, he can go P9. And across the line, he only finds a 10.5. And that is P10 for himself. Casper can go P5 in the end. It's not a lot better. And I think we got Pascal who crossed the line with 15 thousandths faster. It's not enough for himself. We got Mercedes. That's Kimi coming up to the line. Where's Kimi going to go? Kimi goes P9. Very strong lap for himself. Bovril, he doesn't improve. Bovril does not improve at the end of his lap. Indian goes P11. We saw Hako go P13. Not the best of laps there for themselves. Across the line, Deck only goes P16 and last. And we got Edward, who's coming up to the line next. He can only go P10. I believe that is it, because Salva Olmedo is unable to improve. And he is on, currently, provisional pole for tonight's race. And that is your man on pole for tonight's race. Salva Olmedo and OMB take the first pole position of the season here in Monza. But with that, I do apologise, just having... So, there's going to be a restart. As you can see, it is OMB on pole. There is going to be a restart, sadly. So, that is going to take a couple of minutes to do. We're going to be doing a lobby restart anyway, so we can see the complete carnage. Teams doing this: EVR, OMB, XRA, XPG, SKG. We will be having a lobby restart, by the way. So, underway everybody goes. Everybody's meant to be retiring. Nobody is. And into turn one, nobody's listened. Oh my god. Nobody's looked at all. But it is going to be a restart just because of one driver. It is a lobby restart. So everybody's retiring. I think some people haven't checked and they haven't looked. So I think that's why some people aren't retiring. I think some people need to just retire. We're still waiting on a few to just do that quickly. And then we will get underway for VCarb is SKG. So we're just waiting for everybody to retire. So, yeah, so everybody's now retired. So we're just going to be having a quick lobby restart, and then we'll be underway. Dearest apologies for this. Somebody joined. I know somebody said that they left, but I'm not trusting it. It's just so we can have just the correct cars out on track at the correct point. So yeah, so the race is going to be over, and we're going to be getting underway very, very shortly, as soon as we sort everything out. It should be quick to do. It should be quite quick to do because we'll just be quickly zooming through it. And then we should be good to go for the race. Pesci. I could see why. I could see why. Fair enough. Just waiting for this screen to go past, and then we should be good to go. And then we will get the restart underway as quickly as we can. We want to get this restart going. Hopefully it will only take 5 minutes to do if everybody's still in the lobby. So it's actually the first time in a year, I'd say, or at least since season 3 we've had a lobby restart. I think it's been about 6 months, 6-7 months since we last had a lobby restart. So I will say it is interesting. So we've got to have a look. So we're going to have a look at how qualifying ended. So we have him, then we've got Schumacher in second. So we're going to be a little while doing this. It should not take too long. So I must say it's not going to take us too long to do. So that is, I think that's a really big plus for us, is that it will only take a few minutes to do. So that's always I think the nicest thing is that this only takes a few minutes to get through. The grid is almost done. So at least that's quite quick today. That's strangely quick today to get the lobby done this quickly. Okay. So that should all be done. We should all be ready to go. Let's just run through. Let's just quickly run through the grid order and make sure that it is all correct. It is Salvo Amido on pole, followed by Schumacher in second, Willian in third, Toro fourth, Casper in fifth, Speedy in sixth, Jacob seventh, Bovril in eighth, Kimi in ninth, Edward in 10th, Indian in 11th, Petrao in 12th, Hako in 13th, Iez in 14th, Pascal in 15th, Deck in 16th, Flame in 17th, and Bolton Boy in that fateful 18th place. That is it, and we should be good to go. And we're about to get straight back into it. So let's see whether this is going to be... So let's see how this is going to go today. Let's see how this race is going to be. And it is for the lovely time everything should be good to go. Everything should be fine. Unless it decides not to be. But everything should be good to go. And we should be going very soon, in a few moments. So let's bring that up. So we should be all ready to go. Otherwise, without any problems, we should be okay, because there shouldn't be any problems at all. There shouldn't be any problems at all. These should all be the right settings. Drivers have 3 minutes to sort everything. But my interesting point from qualifying was how OMB didn't start out that quick. You know, they were very much sort of between about 5th to about sort of 9th with Salvo Olmedo. Sort of, it was a bit of a slow start for them. Pole gets them their first point of the season. They lead officially. They currently lead the Constructors' Championship. As it stands, they would currently lead the Constructors' Championship by 1 point. But it's the point for pole. But they've also got a couple of other things to worry about, though. SKG look quick with Casper in 5th. You know, they've got a lot of drivers around them at the moment. Rosso look like they've got quite a good bit of pace at the moment in 3rd. Schumacher looks like he's really on the back of the team, and he's really on the back of OMB. I think there's a strong mix of teams here. I must say, XR8 look a little bit off, like they did They were a little bit off. I wouldn't say far off. 4th and 10th, I believe they were. So 4th and 10th, not bad. Better than what they did in assists on Wednesday, but still kind of find themselves in a bit of an awkward middle where they're not really, their teammates aren't too close. SET, decent qualifying from them. I think Speedy got 6th in the end, so a very strong end to his qualifying. VMV look a little bit off the pace. They don't look like they're massively in the mix. XPG, of course, starting at the back. Same said for a couple of, everybody's in a bit of a mix at the moment. I think everybody's kind of in there. UFRT as well. I think UFRT are another one kind of struggling a bit in the mix. You say that Schumacher is going to cook. We'll see. We'll see whether he will. We'll see. But yeah, I think it's an interesting one. Because when I look at it, I look at how where sort of they are at the moment in the grid. And I look at UFRT, they're looking at the moment. I think if XPG stay where they are roughly in pace, which they probably won't, it looks like it's sort of between VMV and UFRT for that sort of 9th spot at the moment. I think UFRT are probably 9th, and I think UFRT just pull it off in 9th, and VMV are about 10th, I'd say. But I'd say probably it's pretty close over that sort of 9th spot. But that isn't a great spot to be in, knowing that you're sort of out of this so far, sort of 8th and 9th. Qualifying position wise, 8th and 9th is not where you want to be in the opening race, so full pace wise, possibly going down to 9th and 10th. That's not where you want to be, really. You never want to be around there. But we are about to get underway for the first race of no assists in FRLT. And here we go. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Monza for round number 1 of the no assist season. And it is Salva who leads away into turn 1. He's got quite a lot of drivers close behind him, but we're all battling quite a bit. He's on those medium tyres. He's broken away quite well. Look at that. That's a McLaren off in the distance. That was Edward dropping down the order. Now it is Salva Olmedo who leads away very strongly, and that is a Rosso driver who's gone off, along with Hacko, I believe, as well, further back in the grid. Bourbon Boy's already made his way up to 14th, and Flame already up to 12th, so an absolutely brilliant start from themselves. Look at this. Whoa, what a massive swipe from Kimi, almost taking out Jacob in the process. We can see Indian's already up to P8 in this race. He's fighting for those 3 points, and he wants to make that 5, and that's a pretty good start from Kimi. He's gotten away, but very, very aggressive from himself towards the Alpine and the EVR driver. A little bit too aggressive, some would say. Toro is eyeing up a move on the man of Willian already in this race. He already is eyeing up that position of P3. He wants the podium. He wants to get XR8 their first podium of the season in the first race of the season. Bourbon Boy further back. Edwards dropping through the order. He is absolutely dropping through the order like crazy, while Bourbon Boy finds himself up to P13. And that's a good jump for him. But the top 3 already starting to split away from the rest of the grid. And especially the top 2, as Salva Olmedo leads away on lap number 1. He takes the fast lap, and it's the first lap led by OMB in FRLT. And it's the first ever lap led by the team and by the driver. And that is great to see. Deck finds himself up to P14. He jumps ahead of Iaz, which is pretty good. And again, looks like Edwards just struggling a lot on his tyres. He's down to last place now as Deck moves up to 14th, and it's a good jump for him, and it's a pretty interesting start for a lot of the drivers. Looking at grid positions though, and the position changes, good start from Pascal up 5, same as Flame and Bourbon Boy. So far Edward down 8, and the Rosso driver Petro down 5 as well. Everybody in the top 5 stays in the same position. Not been a great start for Jacob. He's down 2 places. Not where he wants to be. And same for Speedy, down 5. Not a good start for some of our drivers, sort of 6th and around there. But it's been a good start from our race leader, our pole position sitter. He's not only going to lead the first lap, he's also going to lead the second lap of the race. But DRS is going to be enabled, of course, but off of this lap, I believe. So he's going to have some competition from Schumacher in second, pushing for that lead of the race. EVR really want to take a win here in no assists. He's got that DRS and heading down towards the first chicane Where is he going to go? Is he going to go for it? No, he's not. He's going to stick behind. He's too far back for a move. But remember, he's on the hard tyres versus Salva on those mediums. So, of course, Salva has the advantage in tyres. But does that mean, at the moment, does that mean that maybe Schumacher is a bit faster in this race compared to the OMB driver in front? Quite possibly. We'll have to see as the race goes on. A bit of a mistake from Salva there. Not what he wants to be doing so early on in this race. He needs to make sure he doesn't make mistakes. And he keeps working those tyres hard. But you can see his line just struggling a little bit. Same for Toro. We saw further back. Went a bit wide there. Oh, and a big slide for Willian at the same time. Rosso really pushing for their first podium and those 13 points. Maybe even pushing for the win by the end of the race. But pretty much everybody stuck together. Everybody within a second as Iaz, first driver to drop that second gap. He's now just over a second behind, and that's the first driver to do it. That's the first small train. You can see 17th and 18th in the same area as well. Edward having an absolute terrible start to his race. Does he have damage? He might have damage. I do not know. We'll have to see as Kimi goes for a rare move on Bovril for P6, and ahead of the SCT driver he goes, and that is a strong move. Trying to make it, but he can't keep it as Bovril makes his way back up into P6. And that's a move we love to see. Casper trying to make a move now on Toro for P5 in this race, for P4, sorry, in this race. But it's a good exit from Toro, and Casper unable to capture that. But again, Kimi going for it again in this race. Once again, he's going for it over and over and over in this race. And it's looking pretty interesting so far. I have to say, very interesting start. Speedy back up into P10. He's fighting his way back up into the top 10 now. Tyres-wise, what are we looking at tyres? Mostly mediums, only 3 drivers on the hard tyres, being Schumacher, Iaz, and Petro. So, interesting. Interesting to see there. Not a lot of people going for the hard tyres, only 3 drivers. The rest going for mediums. But I have to say, Schumacher is putting up one hell of a race at the moment on those hards, keeping up with the race leader, and still charging for that race lead. I mean, I have to say, EVR looking like a threat. Front row for a qualifying. Front row start for Schumacher. And a good start for him. And that's Edward further back. He's had a spin and his wing damage on. For the XR8 driver is further bad luck. And he's down into last as there goes Casper. He's gotten a really good exit. And that pulls him up. And look at this. Change for the lead. Schumacher before turn 1 arrives. On the brakes, he makes the move past Salva for the lead of the race. And Salva has a bit of a twitch on the rear there. Maybe that is the tyres starting to give out. But that's a great move by the man of Schumacher. And Edward is the first driver to retire. And it is an XR8 to be the first team to have a driver retire. But that is Schumacher up into the lead of the race. And EVR now leading away for the first time this season in no assists. Really pushing away as well. 1.4 seconds now off in the lead. He's broken that second gap. He's really charging ahead. Dercier, I think, without that Dercier, he's really gotten free of Salva in second. Maybe Schumacher is just on another level of pace. Maybe. He almost got that pole position, of course. But he just made a mistake. He invalidated, which lost him that pole position. But he's making up for it in the race. 1.6 seconds ahead of the pack now. And that is just growing and growing. Almost to 1.7 now. Absolute amazing pace. Hako becomes the first driver to get a penalty this season. Down in 15th, SKG not looking like they're on their best of days. Casper in P4, exactly where they finished in assists as well. With just 11 points. Schumacher set the fast slap of the race by an absolute mile. Which, to be honest, I don't doubt. And now heading down towards turn 1. Got a bit of battling further back in the grid. Not a lot happening here. As Iaz gets up into 15th. Hako down to 17th and last. I mean, when you're looking at it, it just looks like those medium tyres are starting to struggle on the OMB driver's car. Maybe. Is this a sign that Schumacher is going to run away with this? At the moment, he is running away. 1.7 seconds into lead. Look at how much understeer Salvo has. It's just not working for him. Something's gone wrong on his car. He's either gotten damage or something because he's really slowed down. By my count, he's slowed down by about 0.3 of a second per lap. So he's really slowed down in pace. Look at that, half a second this lap, just in the middle sector. So he's really struggling on his tyres from his best lap. So this is not the area you want to be sitting in as a driver. Here comes Casper. He's on the attack already, trying to go round the outside of Willian into the braking zone of the final corner. Can he make the move? No, he can't. He's used his ERS as well, so that's going to mean he's going to struggle a bit more as he heads down this pit straight. He's not going to have the battery to use. And now, here comes Willian on the man of Salva Olmedo, the pole position taker, down to third, and shortly he's going to be down to fourth as well, as now he's getting overtaken by Casper, but he's going to battle it into the first chicane. Casper not having an easy move past the OMB driver just as of yet, but the battling is getting quite tense here. He is able to hold on to a podium position, but he's down another place on another lap, as he's now led only 5 laps of this race. 4-5 of the laps race now, he's led. Might that be all that we'll see from OMB tonight? Maybe. Still, everybody is within a second down to 11th, except, of course, first and second. I've got to say, though, XPG struggling a bit. On their own a little bit in this race. It's XPG Flame, Bourbon Boy, and Deck. Sort of all on their own. They can see the group up ahead, and they can see the group behind, but they're just kind of on their own at the moment in their little group, trying to catch up to 11th place, but they're just falling behind now, 2 seconds behind. Maybe it could be Salva's setup. I think it could be. I do think it could be. Because he does seem to be experiencing a lot of understeer. Speedy now, making his way. He's battling his way past Jacob for P9 in this race. That's a nice move from himself. He's trying to catch back up to his teammate in 6th, and he's making the moves that need to be made. And that is pretty interesting to see. Down into the braking zone. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, big contact. Kimi down the inside. Contact with Bovril in P6. They're battling over the top 6 places, really starting to happen now. That's lost Toro time. Toro also dropping back a bit. He's struggling a bit on his medium tyres, definitely. But look at this. Kimi's lost tons of time now. And that's also allowed a few others behind to catch up. But you can just see that is a pretty crazy one for the man of Kimi. Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy nonetheless. Kimi in 7th. He tried to make the move, but it has not worked. And you can see Bovril struggling to stay within a second, as Toro now loses a second to the cars in front. Bovril is trying his hardest to stay close, and he has just about been able to. But look at this, Schumacher now. 3 seconds out in the lead by lap 8. This lead is pretty dominant already, and it is just growing and growing. And that's kind of what he'd be wanting. And there goes Speedy once again. Oh, and a mistake from Kimi at the same time. That was both Speedy and Indian through. Look at the mistake. He's made a massive mistake. He's dropping down. Salva now into the pits. First driver to stop in this race. We're seeing Bourbon Boy also come into the pits. He becomes another one. 2 drivers now in the pits in this race. But I have to say, Kimi, mistakes made. A massive mistake out of the final corner. And all of that progress now lost. Speedy now joins his teammate over P5 and P6. Whoa, and another bit. Another massive hit of oversteer. Sends him almost off into the grass completely. He's now dropped down to P9. Only on for 2 points in this race. He's really going to be hoping for more. Toro gets a 3-second time penalty. That's not what he's going to be wanting. XR8's hopes of points starting to disappear slightly. As it stands, I think he'll just drop outside of the top 9, I believe. I think he'll be about 8th place, 8th or 9th as it stands, but not a good one for Toro, as he's now going to also drop down to P5. There goes Bovril for P4, and I think we're going to be seeing the other SET driver of Speedy make his way through, and a good recovery from Speedy in this race, up to P5. Exactly where you want to be, and that's exactly what you want to be setting as a team. But you can see Casper and Willian in front. Over a second gap now between them. Dirty, I think, affecting Casper quite a bit. It might be a bit of a straightforward race from here on out. We know Schumacher's off in the lead by quite a bit. We know Willian's got a decent gap to close, and he hasn't been able to close it yet. Same for Casper. Toro and Jacob both into the pits now. Interesting to see a lot of drivers coming into the pits here on lap 10. Flame gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's not going to help XPG's result at all. Already weren't running inside of the points. That pretty much rules it out for himself. But the dominance we're seeing from Schumacher at this point in this race is terrifying. 3.5 seconds out in the lead over Willian in just 10 laps. Not even 10 full laps, by the way. Just 10 laps. And 3.8 seconds now it counts. Up to now, 4 seconds it's gone to. 4 whole seconds Schumacher has of everybody behind. He's second and a half off of his personal best as well. So those hard tyres aren't up to spec, but those medium tyres are really dropping off. And it's allowing him to get in front. And there goes Indian down the inside. He extends track limits a little bit too much there. Sliding around. He's up to P5 ahead of Speedy. But the battle over P4 definitely going on here. Still, the pit stops are going to be important. Here comes Speedy down the inside in the move that he's done a couple of times now in this race. And he makes his way back up into P5 and following his teammate. SET really looking like they're on for a good result. 21 points at the moment. And currently would be the lead of the constructors, by the way. That is where they currently sit. Would be the lead of the constructors. Above Will now comes in. So does Indian at the same time. Where's everybody going to come out? You can see Patrao is there. Where is Salva Olmedo? Where's he going to come out in all this? He's come out quite far ahead. Who else? Who's going to jump them? Who knows? I don't know who's going to jump them. Has Toro jumped them? Yes, he has. He's just about jumped them. And so is Jacob. And that is pretty crazy. Just see the gaps are just incredible. Still so close. Still so incredibly close. But Salva might have gotten away a bit. He's 6.2 seconds ahead. The undercut coming in incredible for himself. But we know after a few laps, he does seem to struggle with understeer. With severe understeer, I'd say. So we'll have to see how he does on the hard tyres now till the end of the race. Lap 11 and the lead. It's 5.2 seconds at the moment. 5.2. Indian gets a 3-second time penalty. That's going to really hinder his performance and probably going to rule him out of a points finish. So VMV going to be going without points finish for the opening race. I generally do not know how Schumacher has gotten 6 seconds over everyone else. Bourbon Boy gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Generally quite interesting to see. Still, 3 drivers yet to pit in this race, and they're all of the hard runners as well. Here comes a move for P2. Patrao down the inside. He does get the move made. And look at this. Salva has come out really far ahead of Willian. And that's exactly... He was behind Willian. Now he is miles ahead. He's actually a whole chicane ahead. He's about 5 seconds ahead at the moment. 4.6. And that's still about 4.6 seconds in the end. Very, very large lead. I'm going to have to quickly run off to let somebody in the door because somebody is knocking on the door at the moment. So I'll be back in 2 seconds. Let's hope not much happens. And I have returned just in time. I have returned. Quite a lot of drivers now picking up penalties. You can see about half the grid has penalties now. So this starts to stack up. Apologies for me having to run off to answer the door. Now, only still 3 drivers out there. Salva's closing up a lot. He's got this rather large lead, I must say. He's very much working this lead at the moment. Toro unable to get past Casper just for now. Not many drivers without penalties in this race, I must say, at this point. Hako is the only driver to make a move here on lap 13 so far and down that pit straight. Whoa, and a big mistake from Flame. And that, I think, might seal Flame's fate for today's race. Not been too great. Not been too great at all. Tyres-wise, everyone's on hards. Everybody is on hard tyres. Holy. But Flame, I think that's going to be, possibly, we could be seeing a second retirement today. Come for Flame. Should feel really bad. I do feel bad because he's actually had a good start, but it just seems to have fallen away. Bourbon Boy's up into the top 10, by the way, but he has that penalty, which means he will drop down to currently P13. He'll drop down to, with Indian in P14. A bad one for Indian, down to P11 in this race. Bovril's on a good run at the moment. He should jump up to P7 at least. His teammate Speedy a bit further behind. But very, very close in this mid-pack. Here comes Indian. Here comes Toro. Now making a move. I think we've seen 3 overtakes down that pit straight now. And that's a move needed to be made by Toro in this race. They'll just be crossing their fingers that the drivers go on to get some penalties in this race. And there goes Speedy making his way past Bourbon Boy for 11th in this race. And a sweet and nice move through turn 3 he's made. And that is a good move and an important race move as well for him. That is very important. We surpassed halfway through this race, by the way. And so that's another milestone. But the dominance, we've got to talk about the dominance here from Schumacher in this race. That's another lap led. I think that is his 10th lap led now in this race. 10 laps led. Pure dominance coming from EVR here tonight. Surprising as well. Surprising dominance. Last season in assists, or what was known as Tier 1. So Salva makes his move up into P3. It looks like his run for positions is going pretty well. Willian is catching though. Willian has brought it down to 3.2 seconds. So he's catching. Bit by bit, he is catching quite quickly as well. Casper making his way back past for P6. But yeah, I mean, when you look at it, last season in assists was crazy. EVR, of course, only achieved 1 win during the entire season, which I think came in round 3, which was Great Britain. Their one and only win, I believe. Does laps led count to something? It's just something we do at the end of the season. We just count the amount of laps led by teams, just for a nice stat. But yeah, last season they only achieved 1 win in 10 races. In 10 races they only achieved 1 victory. They had, I think, 4 or 5 podiums by the end of the season. They had a decent run, 4 or 5 podiums, maybe I think 6 possibly at most. Had a couple of podiums, but they dropped off towards the end of the season due to exams and holidays. They're starting out this season in style at the moment. Willian up to P4 now, battling with Iez over P4. He's got a penalty, remember, but at the moment he'll survive that. Casper also received a penalty, so it is now full-on fighting for position now between these guys. Dercier is a massive factor. I think we can all agree it is a massive factor on this year's game compared to last year's game. Bovril up to P7 by the end of this race should be P5. So at the moment, he's looking like he's leading SET into the season. Speedy as well looks like he might also get up to P6 in this race as it stands. P6, which is absolutely incredible. Maybe just behind that, P6, P7. So he looks like he's pretty close around there. But I have to say, Rosso coming out quite strong today. Willian, P4 in this race. His teammate letting him past, getting DRS as well to the car in front, which is only about 2.5 seconds down the road. That's Salva, who is again clearly struggling on his tyres once again. I'm not sure what this is for Salva. He just seems to be having issues on his tyres when they get a bit worn. He's been on those hard tyres now for sort of 5-6 laps. I think for about 7, maybe 8 laps now. I think it's about 8 laps he's been on those tyres. And again, you can see the understeer starting to kick in again. Not as heavily as last time, but of course these are the hard tyres. But it is Willian who's catching up though. There goes Casper for P4. Look at this. Casper absolutely flying away now from Toro. Bovril and Speedy are now both together in this. They're both together, and they've both got a chance. 4 points. And there goes. Look at this. Pascal versus Kimi for P10. It is the battle for the final points position. Is it going to go UFRT's way to take their first point, or is it going to go OMB's way and take an extra point tonight? At the moment, it looks like, just for now, it looks like it's gone UFRT's way. But UFRT not having a good day. I said about how they looked like they weren't up to scratch. They're definitely showing they're not up to scratch right now. At the moment, I think everybody knows XPG currently coming out as the bottom team, 10th at the moment in the order. I'd say. I think UFRT are just following in that a little bit. I think VMV are probably following sort of in 9th, and then UFRT in 8th. So I'd definitely say it's not looking too good for those three teams. They've all got problems out of this first race. Schumacher's now come into the pits. Let's see. He's going to the medium tyres. Of course, he was very fast on the hard tyres. Let's see if he can do that again on the mediums. But where is he going to drop down to? So he's down to P3, down to P4. Is he going to come out in front of this pack, though? That's the big question. No, he isn't. He's actually going to get caught up in this pack. He's just able to stay in front of his teammate. His teammate lets him stay in front for P7. Penalties-wise, he will get back up to P6. But it's a risky area he's now put himself in being P7. To now catch up, he's got to overtake the next three cars, then close in by 3 seconds. And look at this, got a bit racy over P5 there. Got a little bit racy, but in the end, not a lot happened. Oh, and there's a moment in the first chicane, and that is Petro, who's gone round. Schumacher, by the way, made his way past Speedy. Oh, and that's a car off in the distance. That's Jacob. That is Jacob off in the wall. Off in the wall he goes. And that is just disappointment for EVR. What looked like to be a very strong evening has disappeared. Pascal gets a 3-second time penalty. But that is quite disappointing, I must say, for EVR. It's not going to be a perfect evening for them in double points. Maybe all 10 teams will score points here tonight. Who knows? OMB on their way for double points. Salva is in the pits again. He's in the pits again. He's going to the medium tyres. He doesn't feel like his tyres can last till the end. Where is he going to come out? Because he's going to come out behind Deck. Is he going to come out behind Hacko? Yes, he is. He's down to P13. OMB. Oh, the only team scoring double points at the moment is SCT in 4th and 6th. So we will be having 9 teams, as it stands, score points. 9 teams are going to score points in tonight's race, as it stands. 9 teams. 9 teams. Which I have to say is quite extraordinary. And just like in assists on Wednesday, 9 teams will score points out of the first race of the season. Showing how competitive it is. And also with the lower points as well. With the point system, only 18 points for win, 16 points for second, and 13 for third. And so forth. Because it's less points, the gap can't be built so much by the top teams. But what this has actually done is it's put Willian in the lead of this race. It puts him in the lead, and it means this lap will be the first lap led by Rosso. And that is their first lap led in FRLT. They didn't qualify for assists, but they've qualified here. Schumacher has set the fastest lap of the race very clearly. He has got a lot of pace behind him. Here comes Speedy. Is he going for it on his teammate? No, he's not. He's just waiting behind. Bourbon Boy's coming to the pits now. Let's see, Bourbon Boy in the pits. I think we can see Salva make his way up to P11, but he's got a long way to go before P10. He's got to close another 3.5 seconds to P10. So he's got, and then another 4 seconds. So you've got 7 seconds till he reaches P9, and he reaches sort of roughly near the pack and starts to gain some points position. So it is quite important. We can see that Schumacher is closing in massively on the front two. Just 2.1 seconds behind Casper now. It looks like it's going to be a very clear, I'd say a very clear sort of, I think probably SKG in third, Rosso in second and EVR taking their first win in no assists and the first win out of any team. It's going to be interesting though to see EVR win. It will only ever be their second ever win in any tier for EVR. So it's interesting to see that they'll be taking their second win. But you know, after this race, remember, we've still got another 12 races to this season, so anything can happen. Speedy makes his way up to P4, and it's a solid move from Speedy there. Past his teammate. I think a lot of teamwork going on there, because at the moment, SCT will not only lead assists on 19 points, as it stands, they're going to lead no assists on 21 points. I have no idea how this has happened. No idea how this has happened and how they've somehow achieved another lead of the constructors in P4 and P5. We saw a very similar thing with AMS last season, though. If you cast your mind back to assists with AMS last season, out of the first race, they achieved P3 and P4, and yet other teams came in front of them. They still achieved the lead of the Constructors' Championship. AMS actually is something to point out. AMS, it was the first time since season 1 that AMS have led the Constructors' Championship out of round 1. We've never had more. And this is actually a really interesting fact. We've never had more than 2 teams lead the Constructors' Championship in a season. No more than 2 teams. And the reason why I find that quite an interesting fact, Toro gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oh, XR8. Their weekend is falling apart. But yeah, as I was going to say, the only reason why I find it incredibly interesting is that officially, I believe only 5 teams have led the Assists Championship. As Toro retires from the race, and that is a double DNF for XR8 in their first race of the season. Oh, the pain for them. As Schumacher has now gotten within a second of Casper. Within a second of Casper, and he's within a second of P2 and gaining positions with that DRS now open. Running on board with the Alpine as he heads down towards the end of the middle sector. XR8, I don't know what to say about XR8 tonight. Horrific. Just horrific. I think that's all that's to say, really. Qualifying went all right. P4 and P10, but the race has gone terribly for them. And just like ABE, they will not be scoring points here tonight. They will definitely not be scoring points here tonight. But as it stands, OMB will be scoring double points. Same with SCT. But really, I think SCT are going to be the ones taking the lead of the Constructors' Championship as it stands. But it will be Rosso right now who will take the lead of this. Who are taking the lead of the race and on their way to win the first race of the season. 4 laps to go. 4 laps to go, and Schumacher's still in third and still 2.5 seconds away from the lead. Have those medium tyres gone off? Have they gone off? That's my worry. Have they now gone off in this race? Because he's not closing in as much. He's still got to get past Casper, and then there's another 2 seconds up the road to then get past Williams. So is this going to be an interesting one to see towards the end, as now Patrao goes up into P11. Nice move there. As Flame also trying to get past Kimi for P14, but Kimi on those soft tyres makes his way past for P14 and something quite small. And there goes Schumacher up into P2. I think he knew this was his opportunity. This was going to be his only opportunity. Salva gets a 3-second time penalty. That's not going to help himself at all. It's really going to hurt him. There's only 3, 4, 5 drivers without penalties now in tonight's race. Out of the 16, only 5 without penalties, which is absolutely crazy that 11 have that. Tyres, everybody's quite mixed. Penalties, yeah, Hako's going to go down to P11, so it's going to be double points for Rosso at the moment. But it's very mixed at the moment for who's where. Good race, though, from Pascal, though. Up 8 places in his race. But we're now watching Schumacher as he tries to close in on the leader of the race, Willian. Of course, Willian has that penalty, so already Schumacher will claim the win here tonight, but I think, as a driver, he'd rather claim the win by crossing the line first, rather than just on penalties. But you can see Willian is losing lots of time now, down to 1.5 seconds. It is coming down, down, and down in the race at the moment. It's interesting to see how tonight is actually going. I think it shows quite a close thing going on here. But here comes Indian down. He's trying to fight for P5 here, but unable to as the SEC drivers work together. But now we can see Rosso off in the lead. I think Schumacher might even lap his teammate by the end of the race, as Willian will lead on to lap 25. As Jacob sets the fastest lap of the race. But Willian leads on to lap 25. But this is the important stage. 3 laps to go in this race. Who is going to cross the line first? Here comes Casper. Whoa, getting quite close to the back of that Alpine there. He's getting very, very close. Look at this. And there's Salva getting past his teammates. Even with a penalty, though, he's still going to be P7. OMB, 7th and 8th. Ah, not the day they'd be hoping for. They were hoping for that win, but only 8 points are going to be walking their way. A very tough race for OMB here tonight. The tyres have just not worked for them at all. And the stage is getting close to the end. It is getting very, very close to the end of the race now. 3 laps left. And to be honest, as a driver, when you think about it, there's only 9 sectors left of the track to go. And you almost count down every sort of sector. You count down, not only every lap, but every sector and every corner almost. You almost sort of count down every corner when you reach this sort of stage. And it's interesting to see as now Indian's going for it again. He has been able to make the move, but Speedy's now gone off into the distance. And it doesn't matter because Bovril will finish P6 and will finish P5 anyway. And the lead of the championship for SCT. They lead both assists and no assists as it stands. Here we go, on to lap 26. A change for the lead might be coming very soon. Here comes Schumacher with all of his straight line speed. He's using everything he's got. But even down the pit straight, still unable to take the lead of the race. A little bit wide into the first corner. But it is a 3-way fight now over the lead of the race because Casper's been able to keep up. Those mediums have definitely started to drop off a bit more. But still, either way, to fight back through the field, Schumacher's had an almost perfect race. So have all of the top 3, to be honest. They've all had an almost perfect race entirely. Without penalties, it would have been, I would say, a perfect race. 10 out of 10 for these guys. But I'd say 9 out of 10 for Willian and Casper. As so far, on his way for a 10 out of 10 for Schumacher. He's absolutely blasting his way down this next straight. Let's see, is he going to go for it now on Willian as they head towards the next section? No, he's not. He's just waiting behind until the final lap of the race. He doesn't want anybody getting back at him. Oh, and a bit of a compromise line for Willian. Here comes Schumacher. He's going to be going for it. Let's see. What is he going to do? Is he going to get a good exit or not? Into the final corner we're going to go. And through the final corner. Not a good exit. Not the best exit he could have gotten. A little bit of a struggle. Bit of understeer there. But now, heading down the pit straight for the final time onto lap 27 of 27. 3 sectors to go. And here they go into turn 1. Here comes Schumacher. He's unable to make the move. And that is disappointing for the moment. Can Schumacher make the move later in the lap? Because so far, Willian now leads. Still onto the final lap he leads. Is it going to be Rosso to cross the line in first? But ultimately finish the race in second place. And still take an incredible debut podium. Here comes Schumacher, still trying to find his way past the Sauber. He's unable to as of yet. That's a yellow flag for Flame in the middle sector. And you can just see Willian heading through into Lesmo 1. He still leads. Oh, he's gone a little bit wide there. Now into Lesmo 2. Decker's retired from the session. That's a crazy moment in turn 1, I believe it is. Decker's left the session and he is retired. And that's a UFRT retirement here tonight. And now, into the final sector, it is Willian who still leads the way here in no assists onto the final lap at Monza. He still leads, and I think he's going to be crossing the line in first here tonight, but he'll have to take second place because it is going to be the man of Schumacher who's going to cross the line and win here in Monza. And it is a race opening victory for EVR. They take the win and their second ever victory in FRLT. Speedy comes home in 4th. Indian might cross the line in 5th, but he's going to finish 6th with Bovril in 5th. Then Salva actually finishes 6th. Pascal in 7th. Indian finishes 8th. Here comes Hako, who's coming around. He's coming around quite slowly, and that is a yellow flag for Iez in the final sector. As Hako crossed the line, he's P9. He's got another 10-second time penalty. That means it is a double points finish for them, and it is points for UFRT. No points for a couple of others like Bourbon Boy or Hako. Iez also going to go without points. Same for Jacob. Same for Flame. Flame has a puncture, and that is what an end to the race. But holy, in the end, officially, it was only about 3.6 seconds, sorry, 3.7 seconds splitting the top 3 if it was with the penalties, but without them, it was only about a second and a half splitting. It was actually only about a second splitting the top 3. And what an end to the race it was. If Willian and Casper hadn't gotten penalties, I think it might have been a very different story and a bit more battling. But in the end, that is that. And EVR take their first win of the season and win the opening race here in Monza. They might only have one driver in the points. They might only take 18 points away from this weekend. But I must say, it is incredible. It's still a victory. But SCT, officially, as it stands, are your Constructors' Championship leaders with 21 points. Which surprises me. It surprises me a lot. SCT, 4th and 5th, and they still get to lead the Constructors' Championship. And I think at the moment we're waiting on Flame. But that is that. I cannot believe the end to that race. Cannot believe it. Absolutely cannot believe it. One of the craziest, but honestly one of the best ends to a race I think we've had in a while. In a while. I'm going to say that. In a while. So I think it's been an incredible race again today. Absolutely incredible. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. But that is, as you can see, EVR on the podium, on that top step, followed by Rosso in 2nd, that I'm very surprised by, and of course SKG in 3rd, who take another podium in FRLT. But their first podium in no assists. And it is a German and a Polish driver, and I believe an Italian, all up on the podium. We'll see in a second when the camera view possibly changes in a minute, if it does. But we'll see. We'll see in a minute. So here it is. Driver of the day was Petrao. I disagree with that. Most overtakes Iaz. But let's go through it. It's a Brazilian, sorry, my bad, Brazilian. Schumacher wins, followed by Willian and Casper to finish off the podium. Then it's Speedy, Bovril, Salva, Pascal, Indian, Petrao, and then Kimi in 10th and the final points position. Bourbon Boy is 11th, followed by Hako in 12th, Iaz in 13th, Jacob in 14th, and then the retirements being Deck, Toro, Edward, and Flame. What an end to the first night of racing here in No Assists. It's a new series for the first time ever, and first race ever, and what a race it was. I have to say, driver of the day has to be Schumacher. I'm sorry, he is driver of the day here. I know some people might disagree with that. I can't lie. I think some people might disagree, but in my opinion, it just has to be. The man of Schumacher. Pure dominance was what he did today. Absolute brilliant performance. Ultimately, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. But before I go, let's have a look through the calendar. We've done Monza here today. And now we've got another 12 races to our season. Next week, we'll be going to Belgium. Then we're going to Australia for round 3. Yes, the first 3 races, all high-speed circuits. Then we'll be slowing it down and taking on probably the second most technical circuit on the calendar, Singapore. Then we'll be going to America for Las Vegas. Then we'll be staying in North America as we'll be going to Mexico for round number 6 at the beginning of August. Then we'll be having our first mystery race of the season. Then Great Britain for round 8 and Bahrain for round 9. And then we'll be going to Japan for round 10 before we go to COTA. Then have a break week. Then go to the Netherlands and then a mystery race for the finale. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. And I will see you very, very soon. Please make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and click on that notification bell. And I hope you have an absolutely brilliant week. And we should be back on Sunday. I won't be here on Sunday, but I hope that there will still be a stream on Sunday. Thank you so much. And I will see you very, very soon. Goodbye. Look at this! Look at the battling, and it is a safety car! Here comes Mika into slow corner. Whoa! Almost! And away we go here in the Netherlands for F1